I woke with the bitter tang of metal coating my tongue and cold sweat clinging to my skin like a second layer. My skull throbbed as if it were being split apart, every nerve in my body screaming with relentless ache. Blinking against the dim light, I tried to piece together the space around me. Nothing seemed familiar at first, but gradually, the details sharpened. The sheets stiff and heavy with a strange chemical odor, the glare of a lone bulb buzzing overhead, and then the most jarring discovery: ropes. My wrists and ankles were tied so tightly to the bed frame that my blood felt trapped, pulsing under the skin. The pain was immediate, sharp, but beneath it lingered something worse, a raw, suffocating terror. I was utterly powerless. From somewhere behind me came the faint rustle of movement. My pulse raced. "Lauren, you're awake." The voice froze me. Clara, but it wasn't the Clara I knew. Gone was the warmth I'd once found comfort in. Her words were edged, detached, chilling. She stood in the doorway, her figure framed by the unforgiving light, not moving closer, just watching me with an icy stillness. "Do you know why you're here?" she asked. Her tone was casual, almost mocking, as though she were addressing a stranger. I had no answer. Deep inside, I knew what she meant. The truth I had pushed away for months was staring me in the face. "Betrayal. Clara," I croaked, my throat raw. "What's happening?" She stepped closer, her eyes narrowing. "I don't know how you ignored it for so long, Lauren. I found someone else. Someone who sees me. Someone who understands me." Her words crashed into me like a physical blow. Every excuse, every late night, every distant look, it all made sense now. "Jakob," she continued, her voice swelling with pride. "He's everything you aren't. Strong, decisive, fearless. For years you've failed me. He's been my way out, and I've decided he's my future." The ropes bit deeper as I tried to move, sending fiery jolts of pain through my body. Rage and grief clawed inside me, but I stayed silent. My body was restrained, but my mind sharpened. Clara began to circle the bed, her words cutting into me like blades. "I've waited for this moment, for you to finally break. You never really saw me, Lauren. You were blind. You looked at me and only saw the woman you wanted me to be. I've always been more than that, but you never noticed." She leaned close, her whisper brushing against my ear. "You never knew me at all." The rush of emotions, anger, disbelief, heartbreak, crashed over me, threatening to splinter me apart. But I held steady. I had mastered control long ago, back in my years of military training. This pain, this betrayal, was nothing compared to what I had endured before. "You're pathetic," Clara spat. "I should have left long ago." "You were a duty, nothing more. Jakob, though, he excites me. He makes me feel alive. You made me feel trapped." Her cruelty only fueled my focus. I knew why she was so bold. Jakob was on his way. She was counting on his presence, on his strength. She thought she had arranged everything perfectly, but she didn't know me. She didn't know what I was capable of. Hours dragged by, with her mocking laughter echoing in my ears. Yet beneath the sting of every word, something inside me shifted. My mind grew calm, razor sharp. The survival training I had buried deep was rising back to the surface. Pain no longer mattered. Focus was everything. Bit by bit, I worked on the knots binding my wrists. They were tight but not unbreakable. Years in special forces had taught me patience, precision, and the art of turning even the smallest advantage into survival. My breath slowed, steady. My movements were deliberate. The ropes weren't going to hold me. By the time Jakob arrived, I was ready. His voice carried through the door, smooth and arrogant. "Clara, everything all right?" "Yes," she replied, though her voice trembled faintly. For the first time, she wasn't in control. Jakob stepped inside, tall, confident. But the moment his eyes met mine, his swagger faltered. He froze, confusion flickering across his face. Clara turned toward him, panic dawning in her eyes as she realized what I had done. I rose slowly, the rope slipping free from my hands. "Lauren," Clara whispered, her voice unsteady. My gaze shifted to Jakob, the man who had stolen her heart, the man she believed was her savior. He looked powerful, yes, but to me he was nothing. Just another fool who had underestimated me. "You know, Clara," I said, my voice low and steady, "you should have done your homework." "Jakob isn't the man you think he is." Color drained from her face. Jakob's eyes widened. His composure cracked, because I had already set everything in motion. Subtle calls, whispered messages, carefully planted information. His secrets, his corruption, they were already spreading through the circles that mattered most. His career, his reputation, his entire facade was crumbling, and he didn't even know it until now. As Jakob tried to speak, I didn't flinch. Violence wasn't necessary. I had a knife tucked away, but I didn't need it. The quiet collapse of his life was far more powerful than any blade. Your little affair, I continued, my words aimed like a weapon. It's already over. By the time you walk out of here, your career will be ashes, your name worthless. Clara, your savior won't save you anymore. I'm not just reclaiming what's mine. I'm making sure neither of you forget what you've done. Clara's face went pale. Jakob's confidence disintegrated as reality sank in. I looked at her, my voice dropping to a cold whisper. You thought you could break me, but I was already broken. This is just the end of your chapter. Jacob staggered toward the door, desperate to escape, but his world was already collapsing around him. Clara stood frozen, shocked into silence. And me? I felt nothing. No triumph, no victory, just a hollow stillness inside. Revenge had cost me more than I could afford. The apartment, once filled with memories of love, was now nothing but a hollow ruin. Yes, I had won, but at what price? In the end, only one truth remained. No one escapes the consequences of their choices. And sometimes betrayal doesn't destroy you. It forces you to rebuild yourself from the ashes, because betrayal is a poison. It spreads, corrupting not only the one it targets, but everyone who touches it. But even poison can be purged. You always have the power to reclaim your story.